Hello, my friends. Matt Hall here, Presidential Diamond in doTERRA as of last month. And I'm very excited in this video to kind of peel back the curtain for you on our business over the last 7.5 years and show you really the financial growth month by month that we've seen in our business. I'm not going to give you specific number amounts, but I am going to show full transparency on the ups, downs, and show you some graphs that show you how our income has grown in doTERRA over the years. Now, if this is the kind of content that you find interesting, if you'd like to learn more, this is one of many videos that we're going to be doing here on this specific YouTube channel in 2020 and beyond to help those of you who are on your doTERRA journey, whether you're brand new or whether you're already more advanced. I recommend you subscribe right now to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and follow along so that you can learn some tips and some strategies and some of the mindset concepts that I hope will help you to reach the same level of success that we've been able to reach in our business. Now, I also last month turned 30. So we got to hit Presidential Diamond the same month that I turned 30. We started in this business in the summer of 2012. We were 22 years old, going to a university here in Utah, the Brigham Young University. It's been so long, I'm forgetting. And we started this business while we were going to school full-time. And we had part-time jobs. And I'll tell you very, very quickly, we decided that we wanted to quit our jobs. And anyway, I'm going to teach you a lot of lessons, hopefully, as I share with you the transparency of what our growth has looked like. But I did want to, and I'm not going to share, how we got involved with the oils and all of that. We're going to save that for a different video where my wife can tell that part of the story. We have been walking and building hand in hand in this business from the first month in doTERRA. I was only the skeptical husband for a couple weeks, and she used her ninja persuasion tactics and got me in front of a powerful couple named Andy and Natalie Goddard, who were able to help me see a vision of what doTERRA could be. And I remember specifically in that first sit down with Andy and Natalie Goddard, they shared with me how much money they were making. And that amount just blew my mind and opened my eyes wide to what doTERRA could be for us in terms of freedom in our life and creating the lifestyle of our dreams. And I'll tell you this month, the commissions for last month, we actually made the same amount of money that they told us they were making when we first met them, and that, awe-inspiring, inspirational number. And so not only are they an example of what's possible, but it's fun to actually be becoming that example for other people and showing what can happen if you're committed to the long term of this business. And I do want to share a couple more thoughts before I show you month by month the numbers. First is, this video is not to create any kind of comparison. I don't want anybody to write in the comments below and say, oh man, I don't want it to be comparison either way, like to boost your ego and showing you like, oh wait, man, I hit diamond in a year. I was so much faster. Or the opposite. A lot of people maybe will say, oh, I've been more time in doTERRA, or it took me longer to get to that rank, or or I fell in rank further than that. And this is not to create any kind of comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy and will steal your energy and your enthusiasm in this business. This is only to create inspiration and show you one story, right? Everybody's story and everybody's growth curve is going to look different. This is our curve over 7.5 years. And just to show you what's possible and what it could look like. Now, I will also say that we are not the story typically that you will use to recruit people into doTERRA. Why? Because we're not the story of that couple that hit diamond in a year or 2 years or even 3 years, right? Those are the stories that a lot of times we share to get people in the business. This story is the story you want to send to those who are struggling in the business, who maybe are plateaued or have taken a dip and are not seeing the growth that they want to in their business. To show them that if you're consistent and persistent over time, over the long term, you can create extraordinary results in this business. We decided when we got involved in doTERRA, and we've never quit doTERRA in these 7 years. I can't really think of one day that we haven't done at least something to move our business forward. And so this is an example of us being very consistent in our efforts for 7 years. And a lot of people, they come into this business thinking, I'm going to try this to see if it will work for me. And if that's your mindset, then I'm sorry, you've already lost. You need to commit right now, if you haven't already, that you are here in doTERRA until it works. It's not to see if it will work for you. It's until it works for you, no matter what it takes. Okay. And I'm going to, again, if you subscribe to the channel, we're going to share all sorts of, all sorts of parts of our story, different strategies that we've tried and implemented, how we've built belly to belly, how we've built online. All of that is going to be coming in the next few months for you guys. So I hope that's beneficial. Okay. Also, this story hopefully will instill in your mind the importance of patience and commitment over the long term. But again, that patience is not a passive patience. Sometimes people think, oh, I'm investing in doTERRA, like it's a stock, right? Like I'm gonna join doTERRA. If I'm doing my LRP, if I'm there at all the events, then it's gonna grow. And that's just not the case. You need to be actively patient, which means doing those income producing activities every single day of every single week of every single month of every single year, so that you can reach the extraordinary results that you deserve. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and show you first our month-by-month earnings from the very beginning of our doTERRA journey, as well as walk you through our progression through the ranks in doTERRA. All right. So this is our monthly income. For those of you who are familiar with doTERRA, this means our unilevel combined with our leadership bonuses, combined with our power of 3 retail sales, which is hardly anything right now, but primarily unilevel, power of 3, and leadership bonuses, right? Now, like I said, to give you a little bit of our history and our growth curve in terms of rank, okay? We got involved in the summer of 2012 in doTERRA. In our very first month, we hit it hard. We worked hard. We taught a ton of classes. We had amazing belief in the products. I should say my wife had amazing beliefs in the products, and I came along towards probably the end of that first month as I started to see hers and other people's results. But in that first month, we actually hit elite. Again, this is not for you to compare and say, oh, I didn't hit elite in my first month, or I've been in doTERRA for 6 months and I'm not elite yet. That's not what this is about, okay? This is just our story, right? So we hit elite in our first month, working very, very hard. Then we actually stayed as elite for 10 months, okay? 10 months. And I want you to remember, sometimes people say, if only I had this person as my mentor, then I would have hit diamond in a year, right? We had Andy and Natalie Goddard, and we're frontline to them, and we had them as our mentors every single week, mentoring us, pouring belief and enthusiasm and strategies into us. And even still, we were elite for 10 months. Now, that doesn't say anything about us negative, and it doesn't say anything about them. It's just the time it took, right? It's what happened, right? And so I just want to be very careful that you don't create any kind of comparison around this growth, okay? Positive or negative, right? But 10 months as elite, then after 10 months of elite, finally we hit Premier, and we were like, oh, finally. Rewinding, actually, our goal was after 1 year of doTERRA, okay, our arms are locked, we're vision boarding together, we're casting our dream, me and my wife, and our goal was to be diamond within a year, because we heard at that time that the average person was taking about a year or 2 to hit diamond, right? So we were like, okay, we're gonna work hard, diamond in a year. Right? After a year, we were still Premier. So 10 months as elite, then we were 4 or 5 months as Premier. Okay, I think it was 5 months. Yeah. In our 15th month, we went from Premier to gold. Okay, so we actually skipped silver and went from Premier to gold after 15 months. So you can see this in the growth. Those first months, you can't even hardly see the blue, right? It's just flat, and then you see it start to grow, right? Okay, then after we hit gold, so again, 15 months to gold, we went Premier to gold, 1 month to the next. The very next month we hit platinum, okay? And we were like, oh my gosh, it's like a rank per month. We are surely going to hit diamond in the next couple months, right? We actually hit platinum, and then we were platinum. I looked up the months tonight just to confirm, because I always thought it was 3.5 years, but it was actually exactly to the month 4 years that we were plateaued at platinum. Now, when I say plateaued at platinum, what that really means is during those 4 years, there were months that we hit platinum. There were mostly months that we hit gold, okay? And there were even some months where we hit silver during those 4 years, right? So that means the first 5 years of our business, right? Then so again, I'm going to share some lessons, from each of these phases in a minute, but I just want to give you the growth curve here. Then exactly 5 years and 4 months into doTERRA, in November of 2017, we hit diamond. So it took us 5 years and 4 months to reach what originally we were aspiring to hit in 1 year, right? All the while maintaining consistent and persistent in our activity, despite the fact that we weren't getting the results that we wanted. That's very, very important. Now, 5 years and 4 months, we hit diamond. Then just 1 year and 3 months later, we hit blue diamond. So after 6 years and 7 months. And exactly 1 year after we hit blue diamond, we hit presidential, which was this last month. So we are now 7 years and 7 months into doTERRA. We just hit presidential diamond, which for me, looking back now, it's like, wow, 7 years, 7.5 years, that's not bad to hit presidential diamond, right? You can see the income of what our income was this last month, the first month that we hit presidential diamond. That's pretty remarkable, this growth. But at the time, along this journey, there have been so many ups and downs, so much excitement, so much desperation even, because, well, let's just get into some of the lessons. First of all, let me show the second graph, and then I'll get into some of the lessons. So the second graph I want to show you is actually our fast start earnings over the last 7 years, okay, 7 years. And this is kind of fun for me to see. You can see that and these are weekly, right? So this is week by week right here in this graph. I know it's probably hard for you to see, in great detail here, but you'll see in our first weeks, like our first 2 months, we had awesome fast starts. Like this was life transforming fast starts to the point, I mean, this is for kids who are in college, right? So we're living on $400 or $500 rent per month. And that was really our only expense, right? And so, but this was transformational to the point where we said within our first 2 months, we said, we're done working. We're going to quit our part-time jobs and we are going to just go all in on doTERRA, right? But you'll see shortly after that, the next 4 weeks right here are basically, let's see if I can get my pen here. This 4-week window right here was a big slump. And so that was a phase of desperation. We were like, what's going on? We recruited all these people. Aren't they supposed to be building this, right? Aren't they supposed to be doing something? And we realized very quickly the difference between the two types of income that doTERRA provides. And those two different types of income are, one, bonus income. That's fast start income. This is a weekly bonus based off your personal enrolling and enrolling the people who are getting started with you. And the difference between that and residual income, right? This is your residual income, is your monthly check. And you can see those first months, that first year even, this was not an income that you could live on. You only should, in my opinion, be quitting whatever full-time job you have if that's your desire. It's not even required, honestly. But if that's your desire, you should only do it when your residual income can more than take care of your expenses, right? And we were okay, again, because we got lucky because we're students. We didn't have high needs, expensive needs at the time. But there's a difference between residual income and bonus income. This is bonus income. So don't look at bonus income as what you're gonna live on, right? Because it can grow and it can fade, it can come and it can go, and it's really dependent on you and those core people who are getting started. But in the beginning, there's so many skills, simple skills that you're learning, but it's gonna look different for everybody, right? Now, you'll see that it started to pick up, and as duplication set in our team, we had a couple different waves of growth. But what I want to kind of call your attention to is right here, this valley of death right here. This is those 4 years right here where we were plateaued at the rank of platinum and really gold, right? Gold, and sometimes even hitting silver. A couple of the months we actually hit silver. Now, what do you notice about this? Typically, your bonus income, this income is based off your personal activity. So if you're personally producing, and if your core leadership, like the people you brought in, are personally producing, your fast start income should just grow bigger and bigger and bigger over time. not exponentially the way that your residual income will in this business, but it should be growing if you're personally in activity mode. This is what I call our phase of manager mode. So this is where we fell into the seduction of mentoring, right? As I like to call it, where, every single day or every single week at least, we were doing a lot of mentoring with our core leadership, encouraging them, helping them with their classes and helping them set goals and vision boarding and all of this personal development, which is crucial. But in that managing, what did they do? They duplicated what we were doing, right? So our core leadership looked at us and they said, oh, we need to mentor our people. Which I'm not saying isn't important, right? But the activity level dropped as people, brought in 20 people and they're like, okay, now my job is to manage these people. And when you have managers managing managers, nobody's producing. That's one of the main reasons why I believe we stayed plateaued for so long. And we realized this early on, like probably after a year of being plateaued. But after being a year of plateaued, it was really hard to dig out of that, right? And so we had to drastically increase our personal production. And in these couple of years right here, these last 2 years of this plateau, I would say we personally enrolled, well, I know it was over 200. I would say it was probably closer to 250 people, but it was at least 200 people that we personally recruited during the last 2 years of this plateau, because we were ridiculously tired of the plateau. And so one lesson here is, if you're in a growth phase right now, do not underestimate the importance of your personal production. My personal goal to this day is that every single month me and my wife, we are bringing in a minimum of 5 to 10 new distributors or customers every single month. That's like my minimum. If I'm not doing that, then I slap myself across the face, right? And I say, Matt, you got to get going. You got to get going. You're not growing. You're not growing, because your personal production now is going to influence your growth over this next year. Okay. And so after we got massively into personal production, and honestly, we had to leave some leaders behind during this plateaued phase right here, and just focus on new growth and not letting that slow. You can see the trajectory of our bonus income and how it grew as we doubled down on our personal production, right? So that's one lesson I want to teach you here from this bonus income. Another thing that I want to show you is, you can imagine that, like, during these first 8 weeks here that we had great income, and then followed by this dip, you can imagine that the emotional response in us when we had this dip, like literally, like if you look at the difference, it went almost to zero. And so many times I see people who this happens to them and they think, oh, it's over. Like, it's over. I failed. It's done. I can't come back from this. Or like maybe you're going through this valley of death right here in your bonus income, in your fast start income, which if you're newer in doTERRA is a big significant part of your income. And you're thinking, man, like I had these highs. Now I'm down here. This doTERRA is over. Like, the company's going down. It's going to die. I can't grow. I just want you to know that that's normal. And you need to be very careful to manage your emotions. And when you're up here on the top, like, look at this fast start we had this was last week, 2 weeks ago, right? Like, when you get that fast start, that's thousands and thousands of dollars in fast start, or like this fast start or any of these, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on top of the world. But really, you shouldn't. Like, I've learned in my journey of doTERRA to keep my emotions pretty level. Like, I don't let myself go too high and I don't let myself fall too low. Even if it looks like everything's falling apart, or if it looks like my volume is going to double that month, like, I just don't let it affect me to the point where it changes my activity level. And it can't change my passion. It can't change my emotional state, because if my emotional state doesn't remain high, it affects my team, right? And so be careful not to go too high or to go too low in your emotions as you're in this business, right? And again, in this valley, if you're in this valley of death right now, for you're in this plateau, I want you to understand that it will pass if you step up into personal production and if you just keep going. These 2 years, we signed up over 200 people in these 2 years. We've signed up over 100 people per year ever since. But during these 2 years, after a year of putting in 100 new people, which was, I think, more than we had done maybe the 3 years prior. I don't know for sure. But putting in those 100 people, we were like, man, like, is it gonna go? Like, finally, it should be working. Like, we're finally producing like crazy. But there is sometimes, and it's going to be different for every one of you, right? But there can be a delayed response, right? And so, but this massive recruitment here is one of the things that made this growth so exponential. Okay, kind of fun. I hope you guys are liking this. Put in the comments below this video if this is helpful. If you're liking these lessons, comment below this video. Tell me your number one takeaway so far. What do you need? Like, what are you taking away for you? And again, subscribe to this channel if you like this kind of content. We're going to be doing a lot more like this over the next couple months. Okay. Now, again, I want to show you this, and it looks really pretty to take this picture after a presidential month. And again, like, this is another example of maintaining, like, being very careful with your emotions. My wife and I, we could easily set our living standard right now based off this check right here and be like, oh my goodness, we're rich, right? And the truth is, we've been doing really well the last couple of years. Like, even what's interesting, guys, is even plateaued. This was like our plateau phase right here, right? Even in this plateau phase, we were living only on doTERRA. Like, we were making a livable income, more than the average American household more than the average American makes. We were making right here in this plateau. So we weren't like scraping by, we were scraping by, but we weren't we weren't living in abundance, but we were making enough to live on, which is really cool. It was an example of the power of residual income, because yeah, we weren't growing, but we also weren't dying, right? We had a good solid base built with a couple thousand people on our team. But yeah, don't, like, the other thing I want to share with you here is, like, this is exciting, but again, I want you to manage your emotions. And it's so tricky because, like, I want you to be motivated. I want you to be enthusiastic and excited to grow your income in doTERRA, but I also want you to be safe and smart and understand that this is a real business. And so that's the other lesson I want to teach you here, is that this right here represents top line revenue. Like, this is revenue for our business. This is not W-2 income that Matt and Seantay received from doTERRA. And it took me a while to wrap my head around that. And I always knew that this was my own business, but to understand that, like, this right here, this is not my take-home income. So when you guys see this, like, even sometimes I feel like we overhype the opportunity, and the truth is always good enough. The truth is always good enough. You do not need to overhype. You do not need to, like, one example is when people are getting started and they're like, I'm right here. How do I invite people to the business if I don't have any proof that it's going to work? Well, your invite is, hey, I am a part of an opportunity that is changing my life financially. Are you open to taking a look? Right? It's that it's changing your life. It's not that you have this great result. And I also, another pet peeve of mine is when somebody, like right here, they hit this amazing check right here. This was an amazing check. This was the first time we hit diamond, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, that must have been diamond. I think so. I don't know. I'd have to look. But they hit this, and then this becomes their story for the rest of their, like, for all the way until, for 5 or 6 months. I don't ever like to share my top check with the people that I'm recruiting or with my team or anything like that, because that's not, like, people pass off their top check as if it's their average, right? I like to share what my average has been over the last 6 months to a year, because the truth is good enough, right? And so again, like, yes, we made this extraordinary amount of money this last month, which is super exciting. Like we are going to make high multiple 6 figures this year, without a doubt. Like, even with this dropping, we're in the high multiple 6-figure range, right? But this is top line revenue. So we invested a lot of money into our business, in promotions, in travel, in all sorts of expenses that come along with that. And so that's another lesson I want you to learn, is, like, look at your doTERRA income and look at your business as a business. If you're not reinvesting into your business a significant portion of what you're earning, then you're not really operating like a business, right? That doesn't mean you have to invest the majority or you have to invest, any certain percentage. That's up to you. But just understand that your bonuses, your income is top line revenue. And just that clarity will help you to take your business more seriously and be more responsible on the accounting side. Okay. Let's see. I think that's it. I want you guys to just look at this graph, and this is really the reality of what is possible in doTERRA if you commit to the long term. Again, you need to come into this business if you're just getting started with the mindset of, hey, I'm going to do this until it works for me. Now, I also want you to know the possibilities. We have a person on our team. We were 7 years and 7 years and a half to hit Presidential Diamond. We have somebody in our team who in less than 1 year, they hit Presidential Diamond, and they made far more than us this last year, right? And they deserve that. So I'm not saying that this has to be this long-term thing for you where it's going to take 7 years. You can build the Presidential in 1 year. They hit it in 11 months, or you can build the Presidential in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. This is what the journey looked like for me, right? And so I just want to share this to have total transparency and to hopefully offer inspiration, especially for those of you who are right here. You're right here, and you're in this plateau, or maybe you've hit this month and you're right in these 4 months after where you hit a new rank and you're like, I can't get to that new rank again. That's normal. That it's not ideal, but it happens. It happens. And a lot of times, like I'll tell you guys right now, most likely, like it's possible we will hit Presidential again this month, but most likely we'll hit Blue Diamond, right? And it happened here too, right? So this is, I think, when we first hit Blue Diamond, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's here. I don't remember. I think it was here. But I remember we went like 2 months without hitting Blue Diamond, solidifying it, and then we hit it again. And then we went another month without hitting it, and then every month after that, we hit Blue Diamond. And then we hit Presidential, right? And so these ups and downs, this roller coaster, it's normal. Don't let yourself get too into the emotional roller coaster as you live the financial roller coaster. This is your own business, and so it's going to probably look like ups and downs, but keep pressing forward. Commit to doing this business until it works for you. Stay in production mode. Beware of manager mode. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to share it with me in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And share this video with people on your team so that they can have a vision of what doTERRA can be for them. I'll tell you guys, over the last 2.5 years, my wife and I have been living the life of our dreams. We have had literally the amount of abundance. I won't say it's what we never imagined, because we did imagine it. Like from the very beginning of doTERRA, we were imagining the abundance that we're experiencing now. And it's so fun to be living it. It's so rewarding to be living it. And it's so meaningful to know that we're impacting the lives of tens of thousands of people through these amazing, amazing products. And if I leave you with one more lesson, it's that, like, the numbers are awesome. The income's amazing in this business, but behind every single number is a human. Behind every single number is a family impacted, a family empowered with these amazing products. So it comes down to you being set in your vision of blessing people's lives, being committed to working hard and consistently and producing value. Literally, this is an exchange of value that we're creating in the world. So create as much value as you can. And I promise you, like we are finally experiencing the abundance that we have dreamed of up until this point, you can have the same thing happen for you. So with that, I hope that this was beneficial. I hope that this was inspiring and helpful for you. Share it with your team. Share it with somebody who needs to hear this message. And again, subscribe to the channel for more awesome tips coming your way. See you guys. Bye.